My name is Goss-Ross. I am the creative director of film and photography at Think House. We are a digitally led creative agency who specialise in marketing to the youth, so connecting brands with a youth audience. I'm mostly a photographer. I study graphic design, but in my current role I oversee a film and photography team.
My name is Deirdre Young. My name is Sinead Kelly, and we're H&G Creations Limited. H&G Creations is a creative events management company.
We do creative direction, styling, event production, event styling, weddings, corporate, public events, and kind of everything in between.
Hi, I'm Paula McGloin and I'm an illustrator and surface pattern designer based in Dublin in Ireland. You can find my website paulamcgloin.com for more of my work.
I'm Pearson Dublin. I'm a singer and songwriter with Nocturnes, and I make things. I make pieces of music and I make little bits of video and film to accompany that at times. Songwriter.
I'm Enda and I work as a musician, so I would work with other people mostly to make music. So yeah.
I'm Billy Donahue. I'm a keyboard player of many years and experience, and I've played with a lot of folks, and I write as well.
My name is Bella Agogo. I am a burlesque performer, a cabaret producer, belly dancer, creative director extraordinaire, and I am from Dublin, Ireland.
I think everyone's creative. I think it's the one thing that separates us from animals. I think animals eat, animals shit, animals do everything we do, but they don't create. I think everyone's creative. I think whether you're an accountant, whether you're an engineer, I think that's what makes us human, and that's what makes us interesting. When you get a little bit more specialized or you get to the higher end of creativity, I think there's an eye that some people don't have, and I don't know if that's something that can be developed or taught. But I do think that literally that as humans, that's what sets us apart from animals. So yes, everyone's creative.
What do you think?
Go on. Actually, that's a bit of a tricky question. I think you can develop the techniques. Like you can be taught how to paint, or you can be taught how to make pottery. You can be taught how to arrange flowers. But I think taste, when it comes to being creative, is something that you either have or don't have.
Yeah, like I think you're right. Like you can teach the techniques and you can teach the skills, but you can't really. I don't really think you can teach people how to be creative or to be creative. It's a matter of practicing looking and using your own mind to kind of take inspiration from the things that are around you and to interpret that in your own way, and then use the techniques that you have to turn that into art or to turn that into something creative.
I always say to people, most of the time, people say, I'm not good at anything, whatever it is. And I always say, I believe, very strongly believe that everybody is excellent, like a genius level, at least 3 things. And that could be something really mundane in somebody's eyes. If you could be, you're not a chef, but you could be an excellent cook. You could be a really good people person. So social skills, really important. Creativity, but again, creativity comes in so many different ways of making costumes or music or singing or, anything and everything really. Horticulture, growing plants, growing food, anything like that. But I think people are always excellent at least 3 things, but a lot of times they don't know what those 3 things are. So it's about finding out what those things are.
I think it can definitely be something that you can nurture a bit, and I think sometimes as a songwriter it's something that you have to nurture. I also think things like your family background are pretty important, and how kind of conducive that is to creativity at a young age, or how encouraging it is of creativity. Your family background, I think, can be quite important. It was to me personally anyways, because my whole family are quite involved in various arts. My brothers are videographers and visual artists, and it's kind of similar. Your family's quite creative too.
Yeah, I think there's partly helps, like I suppose there's different, I don't know, I guess people, I kind of believe that everyone's always got a creative side to them. It's just whatever level or whatever type of creativity you have, you know. And then whether it's channeled and nurtured and supported, can help.
And I think
make it grow. So
I think also, you know, you could, like, I also like visual stuff, and I could have maybe evolved in that way, but I just happen to have evolved into sound and music and songwriting, and that's the way I developed my songwriting, or developed my creativity. But I'm always interested in other mediums as well, writing as well. I think they feed off each other a little bit. I think particularly visual and audio kind of feed off each other. They're kind of twins.
I think that in my own experience, a sense of humor fueled a lot of creativity. I always thought that was really important too. That was the catalyst. As when we were kids, we started, even before we started a band, we were writing movies and doing that, and sort of morphed into the band. And a lot of it was very silly. So I always try to encourage that in the kids that I'm exposed to.
I think people kind of view art as some kind of special or some kind of magic people that can create new things, which is great. But I think that we do a lot of other hard work as well. So you're multitasking many skills as an artist. So, and now I forgot the question. Sorry.
Absolutely. I think you can be creative in any field. You can be creative in any business. And I think to try and put people who are creative that the only thing that they do is, well, art. Like, you're only creative if you're a graphic designer. But not really. I think you can be completely creative in running a restaurant. And I think separating them isn't a benefit to any industry. I think you have to be creative when it comes to business. And people who are creative are very successful, but they're not considered creatives.
Yeah, no, it's true. Like, I think that being creative is another word for being resourceful. So if you can use the resources that are at your fingertips, or the people at your fingertips, in a creative way, then you can, in fact, run a business, do accounting, do anything that isn't necessarily deemed creative in a creative way. And I think that it's unfair to separate these two things, because I think in the education system that we're in at the minute, they try and kind of drill the creativity out of you and want you to be really logical and scientific and mathematic about things, whereas if we incorporated more creativity into doing, math and science and writing, that we would essentially get better problem solvers. And I think being able to problem solve is essentially being able to be creative.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think obviously creativity is important in any realm. I think in any professional realm, and in my day job, I work as an educator, and I see a lot of creativity in my peers, and I think it's only important to be able to let it bleed into other areas of your life. Definitely, yeah. But it works very well in the arts, especially for personal expression. Obviously, it's a different thing, isn't it? A little bit when you're talking about expression and creativity with a view to, maybe problem solving or something like that, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think there's a completely different vibe when you're able to focus entirely on creativity. Like, I spent my misspent adulthood was spent trying to avoid day jobs to a certain degree, to play music, and those are really the most fulfilling times. But creativity is important, and sometimes you fight against the grain to bring creativity. In education is probably a better place for creativity, but I was working in different businesses, and my day jobs were...
It's harder maybe to be creative in certain...
You become subversive.
Yeah, so I love that part of the job. So a lot of the time I find when you're drawing, you're almost this unusual state of relaxation, but also excitement, and you're looking forward to find out what you can create, and all your ideas are flowing, and it's very energetic. So I love that part of it.
I think it's different for film and photography, because you have to get yourself in the zone. So if you have someone you have to photograph or film, you've only got that time with them, especially for photography. I think you can't really wait for yourself to get into that state. I think for me, the zone is more when you're coming up with ideas. Like for me, the zone is sitting there writing and coming up with good executions for something that I wanted to do. But yes, I think even when you're shooting, obviously some shoots are going to go better than others, and I do think that zone idea is true. You know, sometimes, especially with film and photography, the zone to me is when everyone on a team, because you're never working in isolation in that sort of situation. The zone is when everyone knows what everyone else is thinking.
It's really important that when you're on stage and you're in your costume and you're doing your thing, you do your act. And you just trust yourself and trust your music, and you do your act. And whatever happens, you do your act. And you enjoy your act. Because if you're enjoying it on stage, they're going to see you're enjoying it on stage. And that's really important. It's that joy of performance, that joy of being creative, that joy of making a costume, creating an act, editing music. You create everything from practically nothing, and then you go on stage and you create magic. I mean, I think that's magical.
What's interesting about music as an artist is that it's so transient. Like, you have a performance and it's there and it's gone, and that's just what life is like, which is a little bit different from, say, like a visual art piece where you might create a beautiful painting that's there, and then people can come back to it and look at it, and it'll change in its meaning over the years. But what's beautiful about music, it's just there, it's fleeting, it's gone. And I suppose, you share that with an audience as well. Everyone shares in that kind of transience of it. That's what's, for me, magic about the creativity of music,
Oh my god. I actually don't know.
Yeah. I think I'd probably do. I really like graphic design, but it's kind of nice because we were incorporating a good bit of graphic design into our work here, so I'm kind of able to dip the toe into something else that I really like doing. Yeah, I don't know. Fashion styling. Though I think my fashion's probably a bit too
Still
mad
creative
for most
though.
people.
What, if it wasn't
If it wasn't
more
creative.
I think I'd probably be an accountant.
Do you reckon?
I don't know, I kind of don't mind bookkeeping.
You're pretty good at it.
Okay, so what would I do if I wasn't an artist or illustrator? I have two answers to this question. So one is that I learn how to pick up a new craft, a different craft completely. So maybe even working on a loom or creating textiles, that would be really interesting. Or secondly, I would just love to travel the world, so maybe become a travel blogger and get paid to travel the world. Sounds good.
I don't think I'd be here. I wouldn't be alive. Because I think everything is creative in a way, everything is somewhat creative. I think it depends on how it's perceived. I don't know if I can answer that question without me saying, no, creativity forever.
As a separate creative sphere, a different creative
Yeah,
area.
I suppose I can. Or
Yeah, I could always see myself having worked more in film, and I might do that again.
I think that if it wasn't for what I do professionally, I can't imagine that I'd be a happy person. I used to be a very introvert. I'm still introverted, but I used to be very shy, and I didn't want to talk to anyone. And I think this has opened up worlds for me. So I don't really know. I nearly became an accountant, so maybe I would be an accountant, but probably something like coding, because I was quite good at that growing up, and I think it again in itself is a very creative way of living, and I think it requires a lot of creativity. But again, anything you do, you have to create, otherwise you're not a person. Cool.
Be creative.
creative.
If you put your mind to something, you can make it happen. It's not real cheese.
sort of slap myself a little bit just to get my brain going, and then once it's going, just fucking keep it there.
Give him a little scratch. A little scratch. So this is Falcor. And I do an act with him. It's a pretty new act where we lip sync, so we mime the music. Hi, I'm Falcor. I'm a love dragon.